Before I jump into how claims are in Unifill version 7, I'd like us just to touch base on what has been there before. So we have some 3 general types of claims that you can start up in Unifill. You can register a claim to a supplier. This is in the case when you receive a shipment, you have a cargo, and you offload your truck, and you see that the supplier has delivered some your items, and there's some things that were not um, um, that they were not what you had requested, or there might be some damage to the item that you had requested. You can register a claim to that particular supplier. And this claim that you raise up is going to go into the supplier, into the claims tab in the supplier information. So when you go to partners and you locate your supplier, and then you look at the claims tab, you're able to see all the claims that you've ever had with that particular supplier. It can be different types of decisions that you'd like to take on the claims, and we'll discuss that in the next slide. But you can raise a claim to a supplier. You can also raise a claim to a customer. And this can be clients or people who are actually using a Unifill instance. And it can be that in the case of a project and coordination, a project went and they're saying that they have some incoming shipment in available status, meaning that coordination have sent everything that was meant to be sent to project on a particular incoming shipment. And when they project open up the boxes, they see that there's something wrong with the items that were delivered. Let's say there's some missing items, and this happens a lot in the case where we have coordination getting something from APU, and because coordination do not have a warehouse, they will not start offloading the cargo. They just send it directly to the project, and then on coordination end, they do like a blind reception. So they say we're receiving everything as what has been claimed by APU that has been sent. But when you open the boxes, you realize that there's something wrong with your shipment. You have some items that are missing. This is also the point where, as a project, you can register a claim. With version number 7 of Unifill, it's now possible to synchronize. Before, we would only just have it, we would just register a claim in our system, and it will go to the claims tab on the supplier information, and that was it. Then we had to write an email, and there would be another different beginning of a cycle that had to start, a separate one, maybe out of the system, that had to start with how to do the claims. But now, with Unifill version 7, it's possible to synchronize the claim. And this is not yet up and active. We also can do a claim of transport. So hopefully in the next, if we get more developments in the system, we'll be able to do this too. But the most active that we have is supplier and customer, so the first two. So there are different types of claim decisions you can make. And the first one is accept. So you can just receive, let's say you have a shipment and you see there's something wrong, and you just say, it doesn't matter, I'm going to receive this item, but because I know I want to have history in the system, I want to be sure that maybe next time we do track these claims to suppliers, so that if I leave and someone else comes in my position, they know the history that is tagged onto a supplier. Then they will see in the claims tab how many claims have been registered to this supplier. Accepting the items does no impact. You do not, it just registers the claim event. It just says there was a claim of this incoming shipment of this purchase order that was registered to a supplier. Accepting it does no movement of stock from point A to point B. You have one that is moved to quarantine, and this move to quarantine happens When, let's say, and it happens quite often, you're receiving some items from APU. Let's say they sent a cold chain item, and then it comes into your project, and there was a breach in one of the items. So you move it to quarantine until you get advice from headquarters if this item can be used. So move to quarantine, it does an internal move. So it just moves the items from the location that it was destined for, and moves it to a location of quarantine location, waiting for you to make a decision. And once a decision has been made, you can either decide to move it back into your stock, or you can decide to scrap it or send it to the destruction location. You have scrap. Scrap is just self-explanatory. You can decide, you see your items and you have it's bottles of some powdered drug that have actually have broken, and you see that you cannot, of course, use it, and you just immediately send it to scrap location, just to destroy the items. The last one, number 4, is return. So it can be that you've received items and it's not what you had ordered for. You can still say, I want to send it back to the supplier. You can say you want to send it back. You can also say, I'm going to send it back, but I'm still expecting you to deliver me the item. So you have an option of saying request for a replacement in the claims area. The first these four were what we had before with version 6.1. So what do we have now with version 7? We have an option called return surplus. For the return surplus is if you as a project have received more than what you had actually made an order for. And this can happen in cases where, let's say, coordination initiated the field order and there was one line item that they had added there that was not what you had wanted, and it comes to your location and you decide to send it back because you actually don't need that item in your project location. You can do something called return surplus, just as an example. And what happens, a few things happen when you select return surplus, and I will share that with you in the next slide. Another one that has been added is request missing products or quantities. And this is one I think we're going to use a lot. If you are in the project and coordination did a blind reception of 100% of your order, and when you open that parcel, you actually see that you've only received 90%, you can request for your remaining or your missing 10% to coordination. The last two, so return surplus and request missing products and quantities, create documents in Unifield. And we're going to see that when we are interacting with the software. Pay attention that when you choose return, so for item number 4, especially when you are dealing with external supplier, you might be in a position where the supplier already asked finance to pay even before the delivery, and you do your reception and you decide that there's something you're not going to accept in that particular delivery, and you say, I'm going to return this item. A claim refund is created in the purchase refund journal in finance. So finance will see, hey, we paid for this particular item, but we are actually returning it. So we have made a claim. So it's going to indicate to finance in their journals that the supplier owes them some amount. And if they hadn't paid it yet, this amount that you are now claiming is going to be deducted from the final amount that they will need to pay the supplier. So how does a claim surplus looks like? This is just the window that that you have when you're clicking on incoming shipment. So when you're processing incoming shipment, the window that you have when you want to indicate the quantity of what you're receiving, at the bottom of it, you have the area where you can register a claim. And that's where now you have the different types of claims. You can see that when you check on, I'm going to do a claim to a supplier, and you tick this to return the surplus, what Unifill does is it's going to move those items that you wanted to return the surplus into a picking ticket. So a picking ticket will be created once you process your incoming shipment, which will need to be sent to the packing. And then after packing, you create a shipping document. And once you validate your shipping document and you synchronize your instance as a project, coordination will get it on their end. Because essentially you're saying that I am moving the Ethernet cable. So as an example, what I have on the screen, I did not actually want these Ethernet cables. I will say I'm going to put 50. So I come here and indicate I want to send back 50. And once I click on the floppy disk here, I come and I say I'm going to register a claim, and my claim is return surplus. And you'll see that my supplier is coordination. And once I say I'm going to do, I click on the on process here. These items, these cables, 50 of them will be taken to the picking location, packing location, shipping, and they'll be not longer reflecting in your stock as quantities in your inventory. But on the other end, the coordination also receives something after you've done the shipment, after they've synchronized. On their end, they receive an incoming shipment. And that incoming shipment is triggered by the shipment that that was sent from the project. Let's have a look at what they see. They see that there's a reason type. It's goods being returned. And they can see that it was actually a claim. And they can see the shipment reference that came from the project. And not only this, they will also be able to see the origin of the PO. So where it originated from. And they will see, like in our case here, there are 2 nanostations that have been sent back from this particular project, BKL. And it will come into your the destination location is going to be your input. So it's coming to your stock. So it's now up to the coordination to decide, am I going to receive it in my stock, or do I actually want to send it to another different location? Do I want to send it to another project, or do I want to send it back to the supplier? Whichever way you decide, but the items will come first into your stock. Any question on return surplus? Okay. The next one is request missing. Request missing product or quantities. So, as an example here, do still the same one for the cables. You choose the last one, request missing products, and you say process. What Unifill is going to do is it's going to cancel this incoming shipment. This incoming shipment, if it's cancelled and you synchronize, what will coordination get from the end? They will get a field order. The fact that you canceled incoming shipment and the PO in the project instance still had those items that were missing in its list, and through synchronization it pushed that information to create a field order. Because you'd cancelled it in the incoming shipment, you had said I want to get my missing items, it makes that PO in the project trigger a new field order in coordination. But pay attention, it's this field order, this new field order that has been created, it still has the reference of the initial PO from the project. So here in my case, you can see that my origin, the customer reference, is PO 343, and it comes from my project BKL. This is the original PO that was made initially, and it still comes with the information that was existing in the original PO. So in 343, the one that was created in the project, it was an emergency, and it was actually some vaccines that were being requested for. And whatever that the items that you had indicated that are missing in the project will come back here in the field order on the line level. So what I want to do is I'd like to jump onto the system and show you the two examples. I'll start with the request surplus, and then I want us to see the documents that are going to be created, and then I will jump onto the request missing. Then I want to show you the documents that are going to be created. Up to now, are there any questions that you have? Okay, so let us navigate to Unifield. And I am going to navigate to my warehouse, incoming shipments that are in the status available shipped, because I want to receive the items from coordination. So I will go to the first one, and then I'm going to click on process. After I click on process, I'm taken to the products to process window, and here is normally where we just do our reception. So I want to make a claim, and I want to say actually wanted only to order 60 cables and not the USB. I don't know how this USB was sent to me by coordination, but it's not part of my initial order. So I want to send these items back to coordination. I don't want to receive them in my instance. So it's true I ordered for 60. It's true I have counted 60 have been received in my warehouse. So I will receive that item, and it goes into my warehouse. So for the items that I do not agree about this cable, I will copy everything because I'm sending everything back to coordination. I will come to the claims, and I will register a claim. And what is my claim type? I will navigate to the return surplus. And you can see my supplier is coordination process. And once I do that, Unifield does a couple of things. It tells me that my internal picking 10 is cancelled. My reception is closed. My return, there's a return surplus event that has this reference. Event number 1 has been processed, and there's a new return surplus event of claims that has been created, and there's a new claim number 3 to the supplier that has been registered during the internal change picking process. Now, where do you normally see the claims? As I told you, you can see it when you come to the partner, and you navigate to the claims tab. And here in this claims tab is where you'll see all the claims that are existing with your supplier. And if you want to get into the detail of what exactly is it, we can see there was something that was done in January 20th. There are some claims that are registered. Claim number 2 that is waiting for progress. And when you come to the event, you see it was another return. And what product was it? It's some diazepam. 50 of them are being sent back. And it's still invalid. It's validated, waiting progress. So we made number 3. This is the claim that we have done right now, and we're going to now send the products, the cables, back to supplier. So I come here, and if I come to my picking, and you can see it's picking number 6, and it's a surplus. And once I click that, I'm going to create my pick, and I copy everything, and I create my picking. So this is just a normal process. Nothing is changing here. You do your picking. We're going to go and do our packing, and Unifill will create for us an shipment document that we're going to create. We're going to process, and I'm doing now my packing. I'm going to fill in the weight. And I will create my shipment. And I'm going to validate it. And click on a manual synchronization. I will go to the coordination. I will start thinking on this end also. And I'll start everything in the background. And I come into my incoming shipment. When I open it, and you can see the reason type, it's goods that have been returned. It's the origin, it's still maintained of that PO. And look, you can see the shipment that came from the project. It's shipment number 6, the one you've just done. Then it's up to you in coordination to receive the items into your warehouse. And that's how a claim, which is called return surplus, looks like. Any question for that one? Okay, so we're going to go back again. I will work with this database because it's the one which is working. And I'm going to do the next example of return request missing products or quantities. I will come to my incoming shipment again. I will want only the ones that have been available shipped. And in my case, I can see there's one here. The PO is 886. So I had these cables that I wanted to get from coordination. Coordination have said that we have received it from, let's say, APU, and APU has sent you everything, and we have also sent you everything because we just did a blind reception. But you actually see that you didn't get all the cables. You only got 51 of them. So you process what you are physically seeing. I received 51 cables, and I'm missing now 4 from my initial order. So my 51 go into my warehouse. So I want to register these 4 I did not receive, and I still want these items. We still need to distribute this to our mission, our project, and we still have this need. So it's up to coordination to decide to see how are they going to make sure that I receive these items. I come and I say, for these 4, I did not receive, and we still need it. I come and I say, I register a claim to the supplier, and the type of the claim is request missing products or quantities. The moment you select this, Unifill already knows you want replacement, so it will say, I need a replacement for this item. It's by default it checks that one out. The moment I process, it's just simple. On the project end, what happens is this incoming shipment is cancelled, and then it is going to trigger us after synchronization in both instances to make sure that there's a field order in the coordination instance that we're going to use to still make sure that we receive the item in our location in the project. So I am synchronizing and go to coordination. And once I'm in coordination, I will synchronize. You wake up in the morning and you want to see all the documents that came through synchronization. It is where you go synchronization, monitoring, PO, FO shipment logs. and I want to see if something has come up, something has been created. And what has been created? Field order number 1742. I will go to my orders. I go to my field orders, and it should be the first one that I see there, 1742. And look at that. We have the field order 1742, and it came from this reference. Remember, we saw it was 886 from the project. It's still going to maintain that. And it's on priority normal because the one that came from the project was priority normal. And it is regular, and the order category is other. And there is our item, line number 2, that we said we hadn't received, 4 of them. So it comes to coordination, and now it's up to coordination to proceed, validate it, go and create a PO if you're going to buy it, source it from stock if you source it from stock, do your picking, do your packing, and do your shipment. And after synchronization, it comes to the project that you've so that they can receive it. Any question? It's now possible to return surplus and to request missing products and quantities. Return surplus, in the instance that is raising the claim, it creates a picking, so you will have to go to pick, and then you will go to your pack, and then you'll go to your ship. In the request missing products and quantities, it's just the incoming shipment is cancelled, and this cancellation goes back to the instance that you're raising the claim and creates a field order to enable these people to continue the sourcing process all the way to ship, so that you can still receive the item you wanted in your incoming shipment that you had said, I want to request for missing items and quantities. As simple as that. Any question?